got a question about getting Kotlin running on Windows. So there's a couple different steps that I took to get Kotlin running. I hated running it in Eclipse because it was very horrible running it in Eclipse. But when it comes to Kotlin, my go-to is starting with Gradle. So there's a couple different things that you'll need to do. So the prereqs is getting Git Bash. So right here with Git Bash, you download Git Bash first, and then once you download Git Bash, what happens is you get the so what you do is you fire up the Git Bash, and which would be, so say we go through, we did the download and everything, we got everything downloaded. That's good. Now, after you do the download and you add everything, one thing that you might want to do is, so let's kill this right here, and what you do is you fire up the Git Bash. All right, we got one more thing that we need to add too. So the second thing that we need to add is SDKMan. Okay, and remember, you need the Linux subsystem for this to work. So what I'm gonna do is, over here is SDKMan. What it is all those different tools you like to use, like Java, NVM, NPM, Node, all that stuff. You can go to SDKMan and you can switch between things. So I usually use this on Linux, but it does work on Windows when you install the Linux subsystem. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, let's bring this up, is when you go into your bash, how you install this is right here. So you're going to click on, and what you do is you Google SDKMan. So this is how you install it. So all you have to do is copy this into the bash, and it will actually install everything for you, just like any other way. I already have it installed and updated. So a couple different things. What I do is I want to do a SDK install Gradle, and I'm not going to do a specific version. We're going to go to 7.2. So we install our Gradle, which my Gradle is already installed, and then we do the SDK install Java, because we're going to need Java. And this is going to install, I think 11 something, but yeah, 11.0.11. Now, let's talk about, let's clear this, and now let's go and talk about how we make our Gradle, project. Okay. So what I did was I did a Gradle init, but I told it the type would be a Kotlin application. So what I'm gonna do is, let me see if I can remember those commands. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, I already got Kotlin 2 in here. Let's do Kotlin 3. There's a couple different things that I do. So let's do a make dir, and we say Kotlin 3. Okay, and let's cd over to the Kotlin 3, and we're gonna do a type -type, and we're gonna say Kotlin, and this is for a command line Kotlin application. There's another one out there. You can either do the command line application and then add things later, but this is just to get Kotlin up and running very quickly. So let's see if my type works out. I wonder, is it a -- type or just a, okay, so let's see something. Let's just do a Gradle init instead of doing the type. And then what we can do is it gets to give us a list. So when it does the Gradle init, split a waiting game. Alright, so it's going to work. It builds our wrapper, and that wrapper is very important so that other people can pick up your project. So we're going to do 2. It's going to be an application, and then 4. It's going to be Kotlin right here. And then what we're going to do is only application project or application and library projects. Let's do 2. We'll do 2, and then we say that this would be the script the build script, we want it to be Kotlin. And then it's going to build it. I'm going to keep the name Kotlin 3. And then the source packages will be Kotlin 3 as well. So it's going to go through and build this for us. We have one more thing to do. So when we do the LSLRT, so now let's talk about what IDE we're going to use. Okay. So the IDE that I might do is I'm going to do intellJ. Before you open this in intellJ, there's a couple things that you want to do. So if you go over to, you can use an editor. I'm more of a Linux type guy. So if you see over to app, and by the way, this is my home directory. So in order to get that Kotlin 3, let's go to File Explorer. I'm going to show you where it builds everything at. So if I go over to my C drive, go over to my C drive, let's go here, and then if I go over to users, ashto, and this is directory right here. So that home directory is right here. So it'll automatically open your home directory if you don't know where everything is. So this is what it created right here. So let's get back to here. And so what we want to do is let's do an LSLRT. All right. So we want to vim into, or you go and edit the build.gradle file. And this was that scripting we were talking about. You can do straight Gradle, or you can do, oops, guess it's not liking it. Let me do an insert. And so when we go over here in the plugins, what we want to do is press enter and put IDA. Okay, that's the Intel plugin. Do a right quit, and then let's go backwards. And so what we want to do is, now what we want to do is we want to do the Gradle-W, and then what we want to do is run IDE. And it should build our IDEA, which is the intellJ. It's going to build the configuration for our intellJ project. Okay? And that's what we want. So as it builds it, we're going to play the waiting game for a minute. Alright, so we got that there. So now, while intellJ is trying to run, we can do a Gradle W. And let's do a build. Let's do a test. And let's do a run. See how we get. So what I'm expecting to do is build, and then there's some tests that come out of the box for this to run. I'm expecting it to do that build, test, and run, those tasks. I'm going to bring this over here. We'll let this load right here. We can ignore that. Here goes the test. And this is just to ensure the project is working and everything. So what I usually do is I have two routes. I have the route that I do this when I do development, and then I have the route where I actually use an IDE, like VS Code or something like that. So see, we got the hello world and it ran the app and everything. So this is my backup just to make sure that everything's running here, and to determine if it's the IDE or if it's the actual, if it's actually some configuration, Kotlin or something like that. So let's do this. Let's grab the intellJ. Let's see if we can get this running. Let's close this project right here. Alright, and so now when we open our project, when we open our intellJ, what we want to do is we want to go, some plugins that I did add was I added the Gradle plugins. So these are a few plugins that I added. Let's go over to Gradle. So I at least added the Gradle plugin and a few others. You have Easy Gradle up here. You got the dependencies. So if you go over to install, actually, you will see all my Gradle plugins that I did. So these are quite a few right here, those extensions that I did. This one is not turned on. It might have been flaking out. And this one right here, I'm kind of leery. So if you're leery on some plugins, kind of turn them off. But so far everything is working and everything. I like it. And if you click on them, you can actually see what they do. Okay. So right here, see, you can actually see what they do. Alright. So now, let's go over to projects. Let's go to open. And this is why we did the Gradle IDEA, is because importing that, we want to make it import easily. And you see how you see that box right there? That means it recognized, that means our Gradle worked. So we click on this, press OK. And so now we started our entire Gradle project. I mean, we got our Gradle project in. So now let's talk about some ways of making this easier where we can press the run button and build button and everything. So the build should work just fine. So if we go in and we build the project, it should work just fine. See, we got the build running. But the run, so what you want to do is you want to click run up here, and you want the run ... And so what we're going to do is edit the configuration. So one configuration that I like to do, and this is if it goes kind of slow. It might go slow if you do this configuration, but this is how I do it, so that if I click on Gradle and I do it this way, so that, let's show you, I'm just going to get to it. So we just say run Kotlin. So what I usually do is I do once you do a build, or say you just want to do a run. So what we can do is we can just type in run here, or say you want to do test first and then a run, or say you want to, what I like to do is I like to do a clean. And I might do sometimes you have to erase the dependencies and bring them back. I think it's remove dependencies or something like that. Refresh dependencies. It's -- refresh -- dependencies. But what we're going to do is, for the movie's sake, let's just do a run. Okay? So after we do a run, what we can do is we can apply it. And then what you can do is click that. And then it's still built now here. It's going to do that first build when you go out there, when you actually get it imported. And once you do that first build, it's going to show that it's built and everything. And then you're going to get a build successful, hopefully. See? And look, it did the run right here. So it did the run Kotlin for me, and it did the build for me. Alright? So now you can go through and you can actually go through your project. See, like right here, you can change things here. And then I think we're good. And that's how you set up Kotlin and run it with intellJ. I don't recommend it with Eclipse. There's some things that are wrong with Eclipse. But here, you'll actually put Eclipse here. And then you'll do a -Gradle W Eclipse. And so after that run, I think we're good. And that's all I have for setting up Kotlin. And remember, you can always use VS Code too. So you can use VS Code and all of that. And you can run everything manually like I do here. And then this is just an example. We can do a Gradle clean, just in case those dependencies are stuck. We can do a build, and we can do a -- refresh dependencies. I can spell it right. And this will refresh those dependencies right here. So this is in case you've been developing for a while, that Gradle cache is built up, and then you've got a feeling that those libraries are not being refreshed, or the libraries are not being brought in. you can always do a clean build and refresh dependencies. Just a developer tip. So it's going to go back up and it's going to grab everything. It's going to erase all the libraries that you brought in using Gradle, and then it's going to rewrite those, bring those libraries back down from the repo. And this includes if you have an artifact repository too. It's going to do the same for those as well. Like a personal artifact repository. I'm going to do the test because it's part of the build. And there it is. Did our build and everything. That's it. Take care. I hope you can use this.